So I watched the documentary A Cursed Man, and it went exactly how I thought it was going to go. But there were some lessons that we can extract from this. Let's get into it. A Cursed Man is a documentary about a filmmaker named Liam, this is Liam, who goes on a journey of exploring different occult practices with the intention of having the practitioners put a curse on him so he can test whether or not magic is real. Now, many of y'all may be thinking exactly what I was thinking, which is, why do you have to have somebody put a curse on you to test whether or not magic is real? Why would you not ask them to manifest a blessing for you to test whether or not magic is real? We gonna get into that. Now, when I say this documentary went exactly how I thought it was gonna go, this is what I'm talking about. All of these people were his guiding lights throughout the documentary. They were the people that he went to for advice, protection, and purification. This is a psychologist who studies parapsychology, and he talked about how occult practices work. This was like his therapist who he went to throughout the journey to check in and talk about his experiences and get advice. And these two practitioners at the top are actually CED or SED practitioners, and which is an occult practice out of Britain. They didn't share too much about their practice, which we'll talk about that as well, but they did show themselves doing a ritual for him to kind of like open up the gateways for his journey and protect him along the way of his journey.
I conjure by the knot of two, that it hits its mark and strikes true. Which fires coming up? I conjure by the knot of eight, that it be fulfilled by the hand of fate.
Now, what do all of these people have in common? Huh? Oh, okay. And these are all of the people who actually put the curses on him. Now, what do all of these practitioners have in common? Huh? And that's what I mean when I say this doc went exactly how I thought it was going to go. This top practitioner is a hoodoo and occult practitioner. He put a curse on him using a lot of hoodoo practices, coffin nails, a piece of his hair, made a mojo bag to curse him, and had him wear the mojo bag throughout the entire doc.
We're going to be first tying you to one of these coffin nails. So some of your hair, we're going to tie it to the coffin nail. This should slow you down a little bit, making it more difficult for you to accomplish things that you hope to accomplish, and then repelling people who could otherwise be of assistance to you away from you. So, sounds fun?
Okay.
Yes, let's do it. This is Doom Oil. Doom oil is death into my enemy. It comes from a pot called Nganga, and Nganga is African necromancy.
These middle practitioners are Hindu practitioners, and they honor the deity known as Chinnamasta, who is all about black magic, and she is the goddess of contradictions in the form of life and unaliving. And then this bottom practitioner is a Satan honorer or Satan worshiper, and he's from Mexico. But all of these three practitioners put different curses on him throughout the documentary, and he went to his guiding lights, his psychiatrist, and talked about the effects of the curses. Now, some of the lessons I was able to extract from this, number one, was about Chinnamasta. I had never heard about Chinnamasta, the goddess of black magic and contradiction, so I went down like a bit of a rabbit hole studying her energy and her attributes, and it's very much in alignment with the Orisha Oya. Not saying that they are the same energy, but their attributes are quite similar. So I thought that that was a little interesting and taught me something new. Now, something else that was interesting was that the Satanist slash shaman had Liam write his own curse that he wanted for his own life. Most of the other practitioners, they stated what they wanted to happen to Liam, like bad dreams, fever, pain and sickness in the legs and knees. But this shaman slash Satanist told Liam, you have to write your own petition to Satan and you say exactly what you want to happen. And that challenged Liam the most. And that was the moment that he realized that this entire time he was testing the power of the other practitioners. But this practitioner was really forcing him to test his own power and ability. And I like how he kind of turned the tables. Now, before I even watched the documentary, I was deeply deeply concerned that it was going to perpetuate the stereotype that people of European descent practice white magic, the good magic, the light magic, and people of African and indigenous descent practice the dark magic, the bad magic, the evil magic. And for a while, the documentary was definitely moving in that direction. Once again, notice that everybody he went to for guidance and protection and clarity and purification were white people, and everybody he went to get the curse done and that did the curse were people of color. I was like, I don't like this. I have to acknowledge these two practitioners right here because they did a good job of bringing some light and levity to African and indigenous practices. This practitioner is a mixed tradition practitioner. I think he said he practiced voodoo, hoodoo, lukumi, santeria, isheshe. He had a variety of different shrines in his home. He welcomed Liam into his New Orleans home, taught him a few things about his shrine, but he immediately got down to business of challenging Liam's privilege, right? He acknowledged that Liam was moving fully in his privilege by even asking people who are occult practitioners to curse him and test the occult in that way. He acknowledged that this is your privilege. You have normalized your safety and security so much that you find a thrill in the danger of losing it. Meanwhile, people of color, specifically him as a black man, is trying to manifest the safety and security that Liam is normalizing, right? And taking advantage of by even trying to test it, you know? So I love that they threw that part in there because that was important. And he wouldn't even participate in the practice of cursing Liam, right? He was like, I'm not doing that. Y'all be safe out here. And I love that he set that boundary. This practitioner is a Hindu practitioner who practices Tantra, and he specializes in breaking curses and healing people from curses. So they shared a lot about that. And I love the fact that they didn't make it seem like either practice was totally about cursing. They acknowledged that we focus on healing and wellness, and that is the center of our practice. Now, were the curses effective? In Liam's eyes, I guess you can say they were, because he did start having a lot of bad dreams, and he did get into a biking accident which harmed his knee. The first practitioner, the hoodoo practitioner, that was actually a part of the curse that he put forth, right? He said that he would start having bad dreams and he cursed his legs and his knees. So in Liam's eyes, the curse was real. He also started dealing with severe paranoia and the feeling of doom. And all three of the practitioners mentioned that that would be a side effect of the curse. But the conclusion that Liam came to was essentially that he started mentally believing it. So the mind is what really manifested these things into fruition. So I feel like the conclusion he tried to come to was that magic is real if you believe in it, I guess. Okay, Liam. And of course, to get these curses that were done by the people of color broken, he returned to his saviors, his divine guides, and they did a ritual to break the curses and purify and cleanse Liam.
All honor and respect, I return what you gave me. All honor and respect, I return what you gave me. Head bowed, hands up. And the root.
Now, something else I found quite interesting was that all of the practitioners of color went into detail explaining their traditions, their beliefs, even their shrines, and sometimes the tools that they were using in the curses. Meanwhile, the European practitioners never explained what CED or SED is. They never explained the tools that they were using in the ritual and why. They showed the ritual, but they never explained what the rope was and what the knots represented, or why they were using the breath or even the fire or what they were chanting. Meanwhile, the Black specifically practices were emphasized and explained a lot, right? Again, even down to the shrines. They also brought in author and voodoo practitioner Lilith Dorsey, who has written many books about voodoo and other African traditional practices. They brought her in to explain what voodoo is and how it works and all of that. I think that we need to realize that it is completely okay to keep certain things sacred and not feel guilty about that, right? They do it too. These practitioners kept their practice sacred. They never explained what they believed in, the tools that they were using, and why. I think we need to get back to practicing hushing. Now, as I said, the documentary went exactly as I thought it was going to go, even down to the conclusion that magic is real because of the power of the mind and if you believe in it and all of that stuff. I had a feeling that was the road we were going down here, but I do appreciate the multiple warnings as well as the clarity and guidance that they gave about baneful magic, left hand work, curses, and all of that. I think it's necessary to kind of put some of that information and those warnings out during this time of spiritual awakening, and a lot of people are returning to spiritual practices, and some with the intent of practicing baneful magic and curses and things like that. So I thought that was helpful. I also appreciated the rabbit hole of China Master that it sent me down. I was not aware of the deity China Master, so that was a good lesson to learn. I appreciated that he featured Tantra in here because I'm a Tantra practitioner, so I love that he talked about Tantra in a divine light, a good light, right? And mentioned how healing it could be, and also gave some information on how it works and how it's done. So I really enjoyed that about the doc. Overall, it was an interesting watch. Would I recommend it? Know what you're getting into and